travelers, and luxury destination adventurers. It's now time to enjoy the journey on Enjoy the Journey with David Hartman and guests. And now, here's David Hartman.
Greetings from paradise. David Hartman, owner, Fantastic Endeavors Travel Agency, coming to you live on Radio A1A and the Radio A1A Media Network. We're in beautiful Key Largo, Florida. Hope you're having a fantastic Monday. Remember, I'm the travel agent that always asks my clients two questions. What is your bucket list trip? And where do you wish you were right now? We have a great show today about recreation and relaxation in the Florida Keys. We have a wonderful guest named Captain Dan Cornell, owner of Cruisin Tikis, Key Largo. We're going to talk to Dan about his wonderful vessels and how to relax in style on the Florida Keys. First off, we'll thank our sponsors, go to a quick break, and come back and talk with Dan. We thank our wonderful sponsors of Radio A1A, Vic Figueroa, Key Smartphone Repair. Any issues with tablets or phones? Talk to Vic. Chip Bell, author, the Jake Sullivan series, fantastic novels, chipbellauthor.com. Michael Marinelli, the real estate conch. Mike was on the show last week. Thanks again, Mike. He is the realestateconch.com. And Jim LaPointe, talk to Jim for the best mortgage rates in the Keys. And Destination Florida, Florida Keys and Key West, the In-Room 5-star magazine. And Monroe County Bail Bonds, come on vacation, go home on probation. And of course, our new sponsor, Dale Clemens with Health Genie and the Health Genie System Checker. Be healthy and be safe. We'll be right back, and we'll welcome Captain Dan Cornell.
Dave, you're starting to get that thing on your camera again. You're starting to get that pigment on your camera again. Would you unplug your camera and plug it back in? Can you hear me? I don't know anything else to do, but see if the new camera, refreshing the camera helps anything on Rendezvous's end. Okay, I think you can, there you are, you're back again. And it's good. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry.
Health Genie System Checker answers 3 important questions when you are feeling ill. What is wrong with me? How ill am I? And where can I receive care? System Checker puts the information and answers at your fingertips with the most advanced triage and healthcare technologies available. Engage on a personal level in your own words to describe your symptoms with no smart trees or drop-down menus that force self-diagnosis. Health Genie System Checker provides an avenue to early healthcare engagement. Welcome back to the Enjoy the Journey luxury travel show here on Radio A1A, coming to you live from beautiful Key Largo, Florida. Next up, we have Captain Dan Cornell, franchise owner of Cruisin Tikis Key Largo. I've been on Cruisin Tikis. It's a fantastic experience. I've been on there for some events we had here in the Keys when he first opened, and also took a trip last June, I believe, and had a fantastic time. Dan, how you doing today? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm doing excellent. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. Thanks for coming on. I know it's a busy time for all of us, and we appreciate your time today. So Tell us, how did you get to the Keys?
I drove, Dave. I moved here with my wife 4 years ago from Michigan. And, we were tired of the cold, and I loved the water. And we had decided and made several trips down to the Keys in the past. And we just made the decision to move here full time and moved, I believe it was August of 2016.
So you're fairly new in the Keys. That's awesome.
I am new.
And you're from Michigan originally?
Yes, sir. I was born and raised in Ann Arbor and went to college in Michigan, and up until 4 years ago, and decided to follow my dream to the Keys and be on the water and get my captain's license and do some things that I've never done in the past.
Go Blue. So you're a Michigan grad. Very nice.
Eastern Michigan grad, but I am a Michigan fan. So, but
I actually got denied there for law school years ago after college.
Well, Dave, my last name is Cornell, and interesting enough, I got denied from Cornell University Law School, and they sent me a letter saying that if I could prove my heritage, they would reconsider. So,
unfortunately, no help with name recognition.
No.
So, I've met your wife and met some of your family members. Why the Keys? How come you guys chose the Key Largo?
Well, we wanted to be close to Miami because I do have a lot of family and friends still in Michigan. So one of our concerns was, we wanted to be in the Keys because it's just a slower pace of life down here. And I get asked that back home a lot, and they say, "You live in Florida?" And I said, "Well, kind of. I mean, the Florida Keys are, it feels like the Caribbean, but we wanted to be close enough to Miami so that I could get to the airport and, fly back home. And ironically, I don't go back home as often as I thought I would because I love the Keys so much. So.
Well, it's a great place for home because I have been here 16 years and it's just absolutely fantastic. So yeah. Really enjoy it here. Now, with Cruisin Tikis, how'd you come about that opportunity? How'd you come about owning these beautiful vessels?
Interesting. So Cruisin Tikis is a franchise, and my daughter was working as a bartender at Sandbar in Islamorada, which is a popular restaurant bar. And she met the owner, the person that designed the Tiki Hut, and he has a franchise or a patent on it. And she said, "Dad, you got to meet this guy because they sell territories like most franchises do." And Key Largo was open. So I was super interested, right up my alley, being, in the water, something I can envision doing, part-time to full-time, and it definitely became a full-time job. But so I met the owner, Greg Darby, and met with them, called a bunch of the franchises, and checked them out, and everything I heard was awesome. So my wife Lori and I decided to open, and we opened May of last year, May of 2019.
Now I've been on. May was the opening party of the chamber, and then I was on in June, and they're fantastic vessels. I mean, I'm not sure if you call them a boat or just a moving tiki, but they are comfortable, and they do fit a fair number of people. And I really appreciated the sound system on board.
Yeah, thanks.
How many people?
They actually are considered a boat. People ask us that all the time. So when they're made in Miami area, the Coast Guard comes there to. They're an uninspected vessel, but they are Coast Guard approved. So the Coast Guard comes and makes sure that we have all the safety features of a regular boat. So we have running lights, we have all the safety equipment, fire extinguisher, first aid kit, everything that's required on a normal vessel is we have here on Cruisin Tikis.
So they are Coast Guard certified. They are legal tender boats, and you said 6 people, right?
That's a 6-passenger, or referred to as a 6-pack license, plus the captain and up to 1 crew. So the maximum we can have on the Tiki is 8 people. Usually it's the captain plus up to 6 paying passengers, which we like, because a lot of the cruises in the Keys, there's 40, 50 people. So by having 6 passengers, we can really do some amazing things and kind of cater the cruise to the passengers that run with us. So that worked out great.
6 is a nice group, and we had at least 6 on board when we went out for a full, a few hours one afternoon last June, and it was fantastic. I love just the stability of the vessels. I mean, you're on the bay side where it's always calm, so getting out and not dealing with rough water is a luxury. And they're really fun vessels. Now you have 2 of these vessels now, correct?
We do. We started with 1, and as you said, we opened in May of last year, and the demand was better than we thought. So in August, we got our second Tiki. And they're both out of Snook's Bayside, which is mile marker 100. Probably, arguably the best restaurant on the water in Key Largo Bayside for sure. And so we're docked right there at Snook's. So past, anyone eating dinner, having drinks can see the Tikis. And if the captains are on board, we usually let people on, check them out. And then that's where we leave. Our 5 cruises that we offer every day, we leave from Snook's and then we come back from Snook's, which is on the Bayside, yes.
Excellent location. I love Snook's restaurant. It's a fantastic place for dinner or lunch. And you guys are right off the dock there. It's so convenient. And we do have a worldwide audience, Dan, so some people are listening are not familiar with the Keys. I have a lot of my followers and customers on, and you have your usual locals too. But Snook's is at 99470 Overseas Highway in Key Largo, Florida. It's right in the center of the Keys. There's a lot going on around it. And what's nice is you can either have a cocktail and then also have cocktails on the Cruisin Tikis, and then have dinner before or after your cruise. So how the cruises work, Dan? How many do you run a day, and how long are the charters?
Well, we have 5 scheduled trips a day. And we have 4 during the day. And the day trips are hour-and-a-half cruises. And then the night cruise is a sunset cruise, which is a 2-hour cruise. And we change the times a little bit throughout the year because of the daylight savings. And, of course, the sunset sets at different times of the year. So on our website, we have all the times, and then we change them as the season changes. But the day trips are an hour and a half. And that's where a lot of the passengers will do most of the swimming. We cruise around Pelican Key, which is an island, which we can see a lot of, we see a lot of habitat, and we see dolphins sometimes. And we had a cruise right before the break that we just had that we saw a spotted eagle ray. Sometimes we see, of course, manatee in the bay. Occasionally we see some dolphins and stingrays and upside down jellyfish. So it's really so much to see on the Bayside. And we have some good swimming spots that we can stop at. And then again, some of the passengers, usually what we do is the captains will ask the passengers, by only having up to 6 passengers, we can really tailor each trip depending on what everyone wants to do. So usually we'll ask them and say, here are your choices. We can do this, that, the other thing. And then we let the passengers choose what they want to do because it's their cruise. And then same thing on the sunset cruise. It's just a little bit longer, and we actually go a little bit further on the Tiki to where the sun's going down. And but again, we tailor that as well. It depends on what everyone wants to do on the cruise.
What's nice is people can customize their own journey, which is a fantastic part of the trip that I like to say, hey, where do you want to go? How far do you want to go? And you make an excellent point. There's actually wildlife to see too. So it's not just about having fun and relaxing. It's also taking in what we have here, a beautiful natural environment. I believe the sunset cruises must be widely popular because we have fantastic sunsets here in the Keys, correct?
It is. It's our signature cruise. And I get asked that question a lot, what's the better cruise? I mean, I think they're all good. They're just different. So the sunset cruise, the nice thing about that is the first hour to hour and 20 minutes of the 2-hour cruise is daylight. Then you see the sun going down. And then the last 30 minutes is dark. And we have underwater lights on the Tiki, and we have LED lights under the Tiki bar. So it's an awesome experience because you get to see the bay before it gets dark. You get to see the sunset go down, and then you get to cruise around at night, and you can see the shoreline. There's a bunch of a lot of the houses have lights going, and it's just something that you don't see.
Well, that sounds real nice. I actually had to come out for a sunset cruise. I did an afternoon cruise last year. Definitely want to get out for a sunset, maybe next weekend. I want to let the listeners know, the watchers know, the ones that are, we do have the listeners from A1A Radio and Cruisin Country Radio. Thank you for joining us. For those of you on the YouTube feed, the pictures we're showing are actually Dan's pictures of his Cruisin Tiki. 1 or 2 in both pictures you'll see. And then we also have some of my pictures from my trip with Dan last year. So they are fantastic photos. And it goes to show you, these pictures could come from almost any trip you have because the weather here is very consistent. Would you agree?
Oh, the weather in the Keys is very consistent. And, the high temperature and the low temperature, the difference is about 9 degrees on average, no matter when you come down the Keys. So what that means is, if the high is 85, the low is 75. And we, have mostly sunny skies. I'm not sure how many days of the year it's sunny, but compared to Michigan, I can tell you this. Michigan, one of the reasons I left is that we call it the gloom and doom scenario. I mean, you look up and it's cloudy. It seems like almost every day. And in the Florida Keys, you look out and it's blue skies, and it just puts you in a good mood. And of course, it's warm here. And then when you can go on a unique experience like a floating Tiki bar, and that's what makes it so special.
And the description is perfect. It is literally, folks, as the listeners, as you're watching us, for those of you listening, just go to Dan's website. What's your website, Dan? It's
Cruisin Tikis with an S, Key Largo. So
check out Cruisin Tikis Key Largo and check out Dan's pics. I know my friends at Buzz Team Media, who I met at a welcome event for Dan with the Chamber of Commerce. They're fantastic people, and they supplied the pictures today with Dan's logo on it. And this is a floating Tiki bar experience. It is very unique. One thing I like about what you invested in with this franchise, it's a unique experience in the Keys. It's hard to say that because recreation is so big down here. Like, you really picked a unique opportunity.
Well, we think so, and every cruise we get excited. We have different captains that take folks out, and one of the things that I remind our captains is that every trip is important, and we have passengers paying good money to for us to show them a good time. And, you can get that in the Keys, as you said. There's a lot of choices to make. When you come down here to visit the Florida Keys, there's things you just can't do from back home or wherever you're coming from. So, I mean, we have a lot of choices, and Cruisin Tikis is just one choice. So every trip that we do is it's super important to us. And we understand that, coming down to the Florida Keys may be a once in a lifetime opportunity. Of course, a lot of people do come down more than once, but sometimes it's a one-time shot. So we want to make sure that they leave the Florida Keys with great memories, and hopefully when they leave the Cruisin Tikis, they think great things in the Florida Keys.
Excellent points again. People come down here for the weather, for the unique experiences. Mostly they come down to get on the water or get in the water. And with Cruisin Tikis, you can do both. You can have that sunset cruise, but you can also jump in. Like, we've had sunset cruises here before. We had some Bayside vessels in recent memory, but you couldn't really get in the water. They wouldn't like that too much. But with yours, it's encouraged, which I love. I mean, it's a wonderful, wonderful experience. Mm-hmm. So say a group comes down, say it's 6 people. Can they customize a trip with you? Can they go out for half a day if you have openings? And what do you charge? What are your rates?
They sure can. So we can take up to 12 people since we have the 2 Tikis now. And we do that quite often. So we go side by side we'll have 2 captains, of course, and then we'll coordinate, going real close together. And then when we do stop to go swimming or in the sunset, we'll just be side by side. And we do lots of different events, from wedding parties to birthday parties to, there's a lot of folks that come down the Keys from different parts of the country, and this is their end destination. So, and then we have some groups that just want to go out for a longer time. So we do customize. We ask folks to give us a call, let us know what your expectations are, what you're looking to do. And then we kind of coordinate, come up with a price. But in general, Dave, it's $50 a person for our day cruises, and that's for an hour and a half. Okay. And then our sunset is 2 hours, and it's $75. And we feel these prices are very affordable for anyone coming down here. And but we definitely do customizable trips as well for bigger groups or special occasions where the hour and a half or 2 hours just isn't long enough. We definitely work with customers on that.
It's good to be flexible. So Cruisin Tikis is easy and it's flexible, and you can make your own schedule if you want. Now, as far as on board, I did mention this wonderful sound system. What's your policy on alcohol on board?
Well, it is bring your own alcohol. So currently we do not offer alcohol, but what we have on board is we have a big Yeti cooler that we stock with fresh ice and bottled water. We have solo cups, wine opener. So we allow customers to bring their own alcohol. We allow them to bring food. So quite often customers might bring, White Claws or beers or whatever they want to drink. Then we have a sound system on board, which has an iPad, and we're hooked up to Wi-Fi. So we can, we use Pandora Premium. So we usually pass around the iPad. We can play individual songs or individual artists, or it's Bluetooth capable. So if someone has their own playlist on their phone, they want to plug it in, that's fine too. And best of all, we had mentioned this, we're dog friendly. So if you have a little dog or a big dog and you want to bring them on the Tiki and they can jump off and go swimming, we are a dog friendly vessel.
Dog friendly vessel.
Mm-hmm.
That is very important for Keys locals, because everyone here owns a dog. But that's very important, because one thing I noticed when I moved here 16 years ago is that even the restaurants are pet friendly here. Most restaurants are pet friendly. So to have a Cruisin Tikis pet friendly experience is also another positive part about being in the Keys. Now, on the sound system, and one of our listeners, I believe, heard me mention that a couple of times. So they had the question. So can someone either plug into your system or customize their own playlist for your vessel?
They can. So we have a kicker sound system, which means We have a kicker receiver, 6 speakers, and 2 amplifiers and a separate bass. So although it doesn't need to be loud, it can be loud, and the quality of the system is really clear because you're out and there is some wind, so the sound system is pretty important because when you're out in the water and you want to hear your favorite song or your favorite album, the sound system that we provide is we get comments all the time. They're so surprised how clear and it sounds. And then sometimes people are swimming, you need to turn it up a little bit. But we have an iPad on the boat, so we can you can use our iPad and use Pandora Premium, or with a click of a button, you can Bluetooth from your phone right to our system. So if you already have songs or you have Apple Play on your own phone and you already have your playlist, Captain just turns one button on and you're hooked up, ready to go.
I enjoyed being on the boat with the music, and this system does thump. I mean, it definitely cranks if you wanted to, but also you can play just some nice, easy music too, some good sunset music. It's nice to have that ability. And then you mentioned the alcohol policy. It is bring your own, which is nice because you can make it more affordable. And because some of our vessels down here do charge, probably a premium for cocktails on board. But here you can buy in bulk and bring it. And Dan has a beautiful Yeti cooler waiting for you.
We tossed up this idea, Dave, about applying for a liquor license, selling alcohol, not selling alcohol. And I interviewed several of my friends, and we came down to the subject matter is, number one, everyone has their own drink of choice. So if we did sell alcohol, it would be a pretty limited menu, and rum punch or something like that, and the prices would go up. So at the end of the day, we thought bringing your own, supplying the cooler and ice and water was a good happy medium because it does keep the prices down, and I think most passengers have their own preferred alcohol that they want to drink anyway. So and we're going to stick to having it be bring your own for the near future.
I like the policy. It works very, very well. And again, people can buy in bulk and buy exactly what they want. So there's no waiting in line for the bartender.
Right.
If someone comes out and say they're bigger than the group minimum, so you hold 12 on 2 vessels, say if they have 15, can they kind of divide it up and take turns, or how do you manage bigger groups?
Yes, we do. It's a good question because we've done some wedding receptions where there's way more than 12, and that would fit under our special pricing policies. So every group is a little bit different, but for example, we had 40 adults at Snooks, and they had their wedding reception at Snooks, and they rented the services for 2 hours. And they just wanted the groups, 12 at a time to experience the Tiki. So what we ended up doing is taking out 12 passengers at a time for 30 minutes or so, and then the captains would bring back the 12, and then the next 12 from the Snooks would get on. So we ended up getting about all 40 that we all wanted to go on the Tiki got to go on the Tiki, which is great.
Group of 40 you managed. That's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have a quick break coming up. We have some questions in the chat box waiting for Dan. During the break, I'm going to go through and pick out some choice ones and see if we can stump Dan on his wonderful business. Check out Cruisin Tikis, KeyLargo.com, and also check out Snook's Bayside Restaurant. Go ahead and Google map that location. It's a wonderful restaurant right here in the center of Key Largo where Dan is based. And Dan, hope you hang on for a few more minutes. We got some questions for you. So we'll see you right after the break. Hang in there, folks. We'll be right back. Hello, David Hartman with Fantastic Endeavors. Fantastic Endeavors is a full-service travel agency based in Key Largo, Florida, specializing in custom individual and group travel. Our luxury travel advisors inspire people to answer 2 questions. What is your bucket list trip? And where do you wish you were right now? Fantastic Endeavors will personally tailor your journey to your needs. We build extraordinary, enriching experiences curated just for you. Call us today at 305-453-9208 or email at dave@bucketwishtrip.com. Enjoy the journey. The Health Genie System Checker answers 3 important questions when you are feeling ill. What is wrong with me? How ill am I? And where can I receive care? System Checker puts the information and answers at your fingertips with the most advanced triage and healthcare technologies available. Engage on a personal level in your own words to describe your symptoms with no smart trees or drop-down menus that force self-diagnosis. Health Genie System Checker provides an avenue to early healthcare engagement. Well, welcome back to the show, folks. Glad you could join us again for our recreation-themed show in Key Largo. David Hartman, owner of Fantastic Endeavors Travel Agency, here with Captain Dan Cornell. Dan's going to stick around a little longer because we have some questions in our YouTube chat. Please go to YouTube and subscribe to A1A Media Network channel and send us a chat question while we're here live for another half hour. We'll keep Dan for a few more minutes. He's a busy guy. And then I got some updates on travel news in general that we may get to today. So Dan, welcome back. How you feeling? So we brought up some interesting, topics, and one of them is weddings. I will say we had a wedding theme show, destination wedding theme show recently. We had, I believe Karen and Wendy from Key Destination Wedding and Events. And Karen Hunt was on and did a great job. And one question people asked, and I did notice one of our pictures rotating is of a married couple. And a person asked, let's see in the chat box here, can you work with photographers for wedding sunset pictures?
We can. In fact, we've done one wedding on the Tiki, which was a sunset, and my wife Lori did the wedding, and she was the captain. Most of the time with the weddings, we're doing the day before or a couple of days after when the wedding party's in town. Don't want to steal the spotlight from the wedding itself or the wedding day. But we have done some photo opportunities on the Tiki, and we're looking forward to doing more because what better way if you're going to get married in the Keys and have the whole Caribbean theme, the Tiki fits right in.
Well, it's important to be flexible even with photographers and even with people that want to take pictures. And I imagine you've done a number of weddings. You mentioned one with 40 people reception. So to have that ability to take that unbelievable Key sunset photo will be lasting memories for a couple. So excellent. Check in the chat. Another question from Tonto Man, one of our big followers. He says, for party of 12, 2 vessels, what does that mean? Can you tether them together when you're out in the water?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when the vessels are moving, you cannot tether them together. So the Tikis are real easy to operate, and the maximum miles per hour would be around 5. So we're not going real fast. And so we can, when they're underway, we can stay about 10 feet apart with operating safely. When we do stop and anchor, then we can tether together or be close enough. So we do side by side when we're anchored in. And in fact, we can get so close that you can walk from one Tiki right to the other Tiki without getting in the water. But when we're on way, you cannot tow or be tethered or anything like that. So great question.
Great question. Thanks again, Tonto Man. He's always full of excellent questions. And of course, yeah, it's all about safety. Yes, this is a fun recreation, But if anyone knows about recreation in the Keys, I'm a scuba dive instructor, have been for years. It's always safety first. So obviously you can tether up when you're side by side, but not when you're underway. That would be unsafe. So another question I had from Rob in St. Petersburg in the chat was, what was your most unique trip request? Something that was just like maybe off the wall or crazy.
Well, I don't want to use that cliche, what stays on the tiki or whatever that goes. But,
sure.
We've had some bachelor parties and bachelorette parties, and of course, I wasn't captain in some of those, but I hear some stories, and there were some unusual requests. I'll just leave that one up to everyone's imagination. But we get folks that we did have some unusual requests where one of our biggest events that we did was at Baker's Cay, which is a restaurant a hotel down the road, and they rented the tikis, but they didn't want to use the tikis. They just wanted them for photo opportunities for 4 hours out of the day. So they rented us, and they wanted to decorate with the company logos, but they didn't want to use the tikis or have them moved from the destination. So that was probably the most unusual request that we had. Thinking that we were going to have 80, 90 people using our tikis throughout the day, and we were set up for a lot of passengers. And the day of the event, they said, we don't want you to operate them. We just want you to keep them here, and we want to be able to take photos of them with our models. So that was pretty unusual.
That is unusual, but a great opportunity for Cruisin Tikis.
Sure.
And another unique question, which I'm not going to say the person's name, but they're can I go on Cruisin Tikis and spread in ashes of a loved one in Florida Bay? That's a great question. I mean, someone in my family must have wrote that, because I did that in Westbrook, Connecticut to a loved one when I was much younger, but we did it in public water, so off a friend's boat. And I saw that, I'm like, someone I know must have wrote that. I don't know.
Well,
we'll have to do more research on that one.
If we did get that request, we definitely would research it. If it was legal, we would do it. How's that?
Yeah, I can't see why not, but very interesting. Have you ever had like a nudist group request?
No, but we did have some passengers that didn't plan on going on the tiki, so they didn't have their bathing suits, and they did go swimming.
Very nice. You mentioned captains. Obviously, you have 2 vessels. So how many captains do you have in your rotation?
Well, my daughter, Rachel's a captain. I'm a captain. Right. My wife, Lori's a captain. And we have Jack, Captain Jack. So including myself, we have 4. And may add to that number depending on how busy we get. So I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, we can go up to 5 times a day. And during our busy season, we were busy. We had both tikis out, all 5 scheduled trips a day for many of the days. And we're open 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So even on the major holidays, we're busy. So, a lot of people that are coming down on vacation, they don't have anything to do on Christmas Day or Thanksgiving Day. They're on vacation, so we're open. It's not uncommon for us to take people out Thanksgiving night or Christmas night. So 7 days, we have captains on call in different shifts, and of course everyone needs a couple days off. But we do have 4 captains now, and may expand that in the future.
Excellent. So you guys, the team is pretty much ready to take 2 vessels out at any time because you have so many captains.
And you have to be. So we're ready. We're always assuming that we're going to have trips booked. So even if there isn't one booked the day of, lots of times at Snooks, you'll have couples that are eating dinner that just want to go last minute. So we have captains on standby, and they live close. So if usually our cutoff's about an hour before a scheduled cruise. Although we do get last minute, if there are already people on the cruise. One thing we didn't cover, David, is minimum is two 2 passengers.
Minimum 2.
A lot of people ask that because we do not need to be full for us to go out.
Excellent.
A lot of the other tours in town, they have a minimum number of passengers, and if they don't get to that amount, then they'll cancel the trip. So for Cruisin Tikis, our minimum is 2. And some of those cruises are the best. You have the whole ship, cruise to yourself, and the captain will take out a minimum of 2 people. So that's 1 couple. So you don't have to have 6 people lined up or 12 people lined up. So if it's just, you and your spouse or you and a friend and say, hey, we want to try that out, but we don't want to rent the whole boat. That's why we do it per person.
I like that. So you can have a romantic couples cruise if it's available. Now, if someone says, hey, I want the boat to myself, do you say, oh, well, then you have to pay for all spots? Is that the fair offer?
We have a price per person, and then we have a price for the private charter. Private charter can be up to 6, although sometimes we'll get a group of 4 and they don't want any strangers on the boat, and they'll do a private charter, or a family of 4. Some of our trips will have 3 couples of 2. So there are some occasions where you may not want strangers on the cruise with you, and so that's why we offer the private charter. But it can be up to 6 passengers, and it just means that we're not going to rent any other seats on that boat for that time slot. So we get about half of our trips are private charters, half of the trips are individual people.
It's nice to have that mixture, but it's nice to have that opportunity. So what is your standard private charter price?
We get a small discount. So the day trips, as I mentioned, it's $50 a person. So if there were 6 people, that would be $300. So if you run a private charter during the day, it's $275.
Okay.
So it's a $25 discount, and the same discount applies in the evening. Instead of $450 for the sunset, it's $425 for a private charter. So you get a little discount. Right now, in the month of May, we're doing a 20% discount for locals. Throughout the year, David, we always offer a 10% discount to our locals in Monroe County. We offer a 10% discount to any veterans or those currently serving in the military. And for the month of May, we're doing a special, and that's a 20%. So that's 20% off the prices that we were just going over.
Excellent promotion. That was my next point. I had that written down because I saw it on your Facebook feed when I was doing research for today's show. And I'm like, well, yes, folks listening, the Keys are still closed to visitors, but we have plenty of locals here that want to get out and do something. And businesses are allowed to operate normally to locals right now, and some restrictions. And you're allowed to go out. So you actually said you had some charters this weekend, correct?
We did. We had some locals that have been meaning to try us out in the past, and we're just too busy. And now that things have slowed down a little bit, we want locals to try us out, because locals have friends and family that come down the Keys and visit. And what's a better way for to spread the word? We want locals to experience it for themselves, like you did last summer.
I totally agree. I'm already planning on getting out with Dan maybe as early as next weekend to do kind of a Facebook Live follow-up from my phone. And then, yes, when we're allowed to do remote broadcasts, on location broadcasts again, we're going to do a broadcast from Cruisin Tikis, Key Largo. So stay tuned.
Fun.
Got a few more questions in the chat. More are coming in. People are getting very excited about Cruisin Tiki, your own private tiki bar on the water here in Key Largo, Florida. Check out Cruisin Tikis, KeyLargo.com, and definitely check out Snook's Bayside Restaurant, where Cruisin Tikis is located right off the dock. Tonto Man has another follow-up. Tonto's a big sports fan, big NFL. Is there any way to have a TV on board to broadcast games on NFL Sundays?
That would be a negative. No, we do have an iPad, so sure. I suppose it could be streamed if it was really, really important. But to be honest, we actually discourage people even using their cell phones. Sure. I mean, we're taking you away from all this stuff. Part of the point of some of the captains will tell our passengers, they'll say, for the next hour and a half, we want to leave your troubles here on the mainland, because we're going to go out and enjoy beautiful nature on the water and leave all that stuff behind. That includes checking your email, checking your Facebook, unless you're going to do a Facebook Live with Cruisin Tikis on there. But we thought about having a TV, but that's not the direction we want to go.
Sure.
But we do have an iPad, so that would work if there's a real good game on. I'm sure the captain would pull it up if it's streamable. So anything's possible.
I agree. I mean, the TV would be nice, but honestly, you're there to enjoy the keys and the quiet and relaxation. And the theme of this show I've been posting on Facebook is recreation and relaxation. And I believe the floating tiki bar, the Cruisin Tikis, just defines relaxation, the keys, especially being on the Bayside, especially the sunset cruises. So a couple more questions here, Dan, before we let you go.
Sure. Let's
see. Tonto Man said good points. So our friend Bonnie said, is there a minimum age to be on board?
We as far as the Coast Guard is concerned in the state of Florida, there is no minimum age. We have an internal minimum age with our franchise, and that's 1 year old. So it's a great question. The minimum, if you're 6 or younger, then you do have to wear a flotation device at all times, which we provide. So obviously, as a vessel with paying passengers, we have life jackets available. We have special jackets depending on the weight of the children. So, a 5 or 6 year old has a certain vest than a 1 year old would have. And we provide those free of charge. It's included in the price. But we have not and will not have any child less than 1 year on the Tiki, just for a safety issue. But that's a great question because every franchise is a little bit different. There are some franchises with Cruisin Tikis that are 21 years and up. Oh, but for us, we do a lot of family-oriented cruises. It's not just a booze cruise.
Sure.
I mean, we roll in eco tour into there, swimming, of course, drinking. Some people do drink. I know it's a shocker for some, but they do drink on a floating tiki bar. But we get a lot of families. It's a family fun day. They're swimming, they're smiling, they're having a great time. So if we cut out, people, guests under 21, that would cut out most of the family fun events that we do. And we really promote that. So 1 year old is our minimum age.
Excellent question. Thank you, Bonnie. Great answer. It's excellent points. Is that it's not all about the booze cruises. And you do, as we kind of wrap up here, just review again. You run numerous charters a day, cruises a day, options a day. So when are those times available again for people to go out?
Well, right now our day trips are 10 a.m., noon, 2, and 4 o'clock. So those all run an hour and a half. And that gives the captain about a half an hour to get everyone off and to clean the boat up. And obviously with the coronavirus, we're doing a lot of different sanitation measures and cleaning the bar extra good with sanitation and things like that. So it takes us a little bit in between cruises. So our day cruises are at 10 a.m., noon, 2, and 4. And then our sunset currently starts at 6:30 and gets back at 8:30 at the dock.
Very nice. And obviously those sunset cruises departure times will change throughout the year as we have daylight savings and our days get longer.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And we post all our current times on our website at cruisintikiskeylargo.com. And it shows the correct times, not just for now, but for the whole year. So if you're going on our website and you're from Michigan and you're coming down here to visit the Florida Keys and you're going to be here in October, you can go to our website and see the correct times. And actually, you can book online, David, and or you can call us. A good old-fashioned phone call, talk to a live person, and ask any questions that you have, and then we can do the booking over the phone. Or for the younger generation, they just go online and they're booked.
Okay, book online. And Dan, go ahead and give us that phone number where people can call you directly if they have questions. Or
it's 800-941-7080. And we keep the phones open from 9 a.m. to 9 o'clock p.m. Monday through Sunday. So we're a live person is available during those times to answer questions. and or book, a reservation.
Excellent. Make sure to contact Dan. That's 800-941-7080. For those watching on YouTube, that's where we're showing the contact information right now. And the address where Dan's Cruisin Tikis floating tiki bars are located. And they're at 99-470 Overseas Highway, Snooks Bayside Restaurant, or 99.5 Bayside if you're a local. And it is a fantastic restaurant and a fantastic experience being out with Dan. And one of your previous customers, Bonnie, also says, great show, thank you. And do you need, it's a question, do we need to bring our own float toys? Or can
great question. You can, although we do provide them for you. We have these new floating chairs out there. They sell them at West Marine, and you can actually float in the water. And we have some noodles. And so we have enough for 6 passengers, although one of our cruises this weekend, they had their real fancy blow up, bigger ones that we allow people to bring their own. But the only thing we don't provide is towels. So we always, one of the follow-up emails, and when they're booking over the phone, we always mention that, hey, if you're going to go swimming, and of course you can drip dry, it's so hot down here some months, but
sure.
If we don't provide towels for sanitary reasons, number one, and so everyone, bring your own towel. But flotation devices we provide. Good question.
Excellent question. Thank you again, Bonnie. Great questions. Thank you all the questions today. Tonto Man and Bonnie seem to be filling the chat box, and thank you for Rob from St. Petersburg for that other question we had before. So Dan, we're going to wrap up, and thank you for your time today. I mean, I just love Cruisin Tikis. I can't give it enough of a testimony. When I did Facebook posts, people said, oh, geez, I always wanted to try that. I'm like, well, check out the show and you'll find out more all about it. It is a truly unique Keys experience. It's a wonderful way to catch the sunset. I did do one full afternoon with Dan, but I've also been on the vessels numerous times for different events, which is fun. And we always appreciate it when all of a sudden the Cruisin Tiki shows up at an event randomly. So we appreciate that, Dan. So give us your contact information one more time and the website where they can book.
Sure. The website is Cruisin Tikis, Key Largo. And our phone number is 800-941-7080. And just wanted to thank you for having me, and thank you for having Cruisin Tikis Key Largo. If you're going to be traveling to the Keys in the near future, we'd love to have you. And if you're local here in the Keys, we'd love to have you as well. Thanks, David.
You're welcome. And remember, for locals listening, 20% discount through all of May, correct?
Yes, sir. 20%. You have to book and sail in May. And if you do miss that window, keep in mind that we offer 10% discount year-round for locals of Monroe County or veterans.
Excellent promotion. We appreciate that. Make sure you support Dan. Check out his website. Give him a call. And make sure you support where Dan vessels are based. Snooks Bayside Restaurant and 99-470 Overseas Highway in Key Largo. I love that restaurant. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate having on today. You can close out your browser once you're done. I'm going to move on to some news updates, but definitely love you to have you on the show. And we look forward to a follow-up Facebook Live soon, live from Cruisin Tikis, maybe as soon as next weekend.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks for joining the show. Again, I love Cruisin Tikis, and you can see the pictures that we're streaming on YouTube. If you've not seen the pictures, or if you're listening on the audio on the channels today, Cruisin Country Radio and Radio A1A, welcome. And check out the website, Cruisin Tikis Key Largo. Cruisin has no G, just Cruisin, Cruisin, Tikis Key Largo. We're showing the for those watching YouTube. And check out, Dan is just a great guy. I know him in town from different events. He's in the Rotary. Great family, great people, and great captains. And it's a full service vessel. So before we wrap up today, our recreation show here in Key Largo, Florida, I do have some news updates, which I try to get to each week. Sometimes we just get too involved with our guests to get the news, but I do want to cover some things in the Keys and see if there's any more questions. And Tony Man says, that looks awesome. All right. A couple news updates. I had some travel things written down. I do news updates for Radio A1A, and I saved some here for the show. People are starting to get back to normal, and travel's getting back to normal soon. And Carnival Cruise Line announces phase fleet return to service starting August 1st. Numerous other cruise lines canceled sailings through the summer months, but Carnival's going to make a go for it. And rumor has it, actually, they've claimed that bookings are already up significantly for 2021 now that they have announced that they're resailing again. So that's good news. I mean, cruising's been canceled since mid-March, especially here from sunny Florida. And it's good news that we're now getting reopening of the states. Whole Florida's phase fashion reopening. It's going to be a slow go, but we're excited to have them come back sailing. And a love of my own, Walt Disney World, been closed since mid-March. And Disney announces a phase reopening of Disney Springs restaurants and shopping district at Walt Disney World starting May 20th. Yay! Now, Walt Disney World Resort, theme parks, and all the hotels remain closed until further notice. We thinking June 1st will be a slight reopening. A lot of analysts say late July. Some analysts say next year. They're just thinking whenever they want. Disney has yet to make an official announcement about the parks and resorts, but Disney Springs will open May 20th in Lake Buena Vista outside of Orlando, Florida. And that will be with limited parking and restrictions in place for safety, obviously. So check it on out. I plan on being up there in early June. I have a reservation at Port Orleans French Quarter, and we're going to be doing a live from Disney show on that Monday the 8th. And like Macau, Monday the 8th. And ideally that will happen, cross your fingers, because right now Disney has yet to make an official announcement when parks and resorts open. But Disney Springs is opening soon, May 20th. And our own Florida Keys has reopened restaurants to limited capacity requirements. And for our phase reopening for locals, the checkpoints are still up at mile marker 112 on the stretch, our Route 1, coming from Florida City, and on the back road, C905, Card Sound Road to Ocean Reef. So checkpoints are still up. When you hear these announcements about us reopening, it's for locals only, which is what it is at this point. The Keys are being cautious and safe. So yes, we're reopened, but locals are allowed to go to restaurants. We actually went to one yesterday, good old Snappers on the ocean side for Mother's Day. It was wonderful. So good news, and hope your area where you are, or that you're safe. I hope the reopening is going to plan there, and ideally everyone's making the right decision to keep everybody safe. So we're going to start wrapping up here. Thank you again for attending the Enjoy the Journey Luxury Travel Show live from Key Largo, Florida on Radio A1A, Cruisin Country Radio, and the A1A Media Network. Those watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our channel, hit a like, and give us a comment what you thought of the show. We do appreciate the people who gave us questions today. The listeners and the viewers is what really makes this show run. And as we grow this show and start remote locations, we're going to bring on more sponsors and do more monthly things. And I'm also looking at ideas what to do for Memorial Day. I don't have a guest planned. I'm going to keep it that way. And I want to do something unique. Obviously, I can do something from outside, something maybe semi-remote. We'll see. I'm going to talk with Harry about that. But give me some ideas what you want to see. Maybe just a Q&A show. We shall see. But remember, I'm David Hartman, your host, the owner of Fantastic Endeavors Travel Agency, based here in lovely Key Largo, Florida. And I am the travel agent that always asks my clients 2 questions. What is your bucket list trip? And where do you wish you were right now? How do you reach me? 305-453-9208 or dave@bucketwishtrip.com. 305-453-9208. That's my direct phone, goes right to me, or dave@bucketwishtrip.com. And check out our website at bucketwishtrip.com. Love your new video, courtesy of Jodie Foster on that homepage. Fantastic job. We thank you again for joining us. Have a wonderful week. Happy Mother's Day yesterday to all the mothers out there. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next Monday. Stay safe, everybody.